The night was thick and heavy, like a blanket pulled too tight, suffocating the small neighborhood where Marcus Thompson worked. The neon sign of Thompson's Kitchen flickered intermittently, casting uncertain shadows across the cracked pavement. Inside, the rich aroma of garlic and thyme melded with the soft hum of the old refrigerator. It was past midnight, and most of the city had surrendered to sleep, but Marcus was still there, kneading dough with hands weathered by years of hard labor and silent dreams. The restaurant was his sanctuary, a place where his soul simmered alongside his pots and pans. Marcus was a man shaped by scars no one saw. He had grown up in a tough neighborhood, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs. His childhood was punctuated by the steady rhythm of struggle and resilience, like a worn-out drumbeat that never quite stopped. His passion for cooking was a flicker of light amidst the harsh reality, an escape that taught him the art of transformation, raw ingredients into nourishing meals, pain into purpose. Tonight, however, something felt different. The air outside vibrated with a subtle tension, like a string pulled taut, ready to snap. The doorbell jingled sharply, a sound that shattered the quiet calm. Marcus looked up from the flour-dusted counter. In the doorway stood a man, his face obscured by the shadows of a hoodie, eyes darting nervously. "Give me all the cash," the man demanded, voice low and trembling with a dangerous edge. His hand hovered near a bulge beneath his jacket. A gun. Fear clung to Marcus's chest like an anchor, but beneath it stirred a fierce protective instinct. This place, his dream, his community, wasn't going to be a victim. Without thinking, Marcus stepped forward. "Hey man, let's talk about this," he said, voice steady despite the thundering in his ears. The man flinched, pulling the weapon free in a flash. Time slowed. The gun pointed straight at Marcus, but something in Marcus's calm gaze made the robber hesitate. "Please, don't do this," Marcus whispered, eyes soft but resolute. Suddenly, the man lunged. The two collided in a flurry of desperate motion, knocking over chairs, scattering plates. Outside, the streets were silent, witnesses to the unfolding chaos. Marcus grappled with the man, struggling not just for survival but for dignity, his own and the man's. In the struggle, the gun slipped, skittering across the tiled floor. Marcus's heart hammered as he seized the moment, pinning the robbers, arm down. Sweat mingled with tears on both their faces. For a brief moment, raw humanity shone through the violent veneer. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus asked, breath ragged. The man's shoulders shook. "I got no choice. Kids at home. No job. I'm sorry." Marcus's grip softened. He understood better than anyone the weight of desperation. "We'll figure this out. You don't have to do this." The sirens wailed in the distance, drawing closer. The man pulled free and vanished into the dark streets, leaving Marcus alone amidst the wreckage of what could have been tragedy. The next day, the neighborhood was abuzz with the news. Marcus had risked everything to protect his restaurant and the people in it. But amid the swirling rumors and praise, something unexpected happened. A knock at the door before dawn. When Marcus opened it, the man who had tried to rob him stood there, no longer hidden behind fear and anger, but with a humbled gaze and a small envelope in hand. "I want to make it right," the man said simply, his voice shaking. Inside the envelope was money, enough to cover the damages and then some. That moment changed everything, not just for Marcus or the man, but for the whole community. It was a reminder that sometimes courage and kindness break cycles of violence in ways nobody expects. Marcus Thompson's story wasn't just about food. It was about survival, identity, and redemption. His restaurant was nestled in the heart of a struggling part of town, a place where opportunities were scarce but hope clung stubbornly to the corners, like ivy on old brick walls. Every night, Marcus prepared meals with a kind of reverence, seasoning not only the food but also the atmosphere with love and warmth. His hands told stories, the calluses from decades of kitchen work, the trembling of his fingers from a childhood, asthma that never fully left him. The walls of Thompson's kitchen were adorned with faded photographs, snapshots of Marcus's mother, his high school coach, and some of his earliest culinary experiments. There was an old clock above the stove, its hands frozen at 11:45, a symbol of the moment Marcus decided to chase his dream no matter the cost. On the day before the robbery, Marcus had stayed late preparing for a community dinner, a small gathering meant to bring neighbors together in an often fractured city. The scent of rosemary and roasted peppers filled the air as Marcus moved methodically through his space, lost in thought. It was just past midnight when the bell rang. Marcus glanced up, surprised by the visitor's sudden appearance. The man's hoodie obscured his face, but the tension in his stance spoke volumes. Marcus's pulse quickened and a cold shiver ran down his spine. This was no ordinary customer. "Hand over the money," the man barked, voice strained, the gun visible now and trembling in his grasp. Marcus's mind raced. The safety of his restaurant, his livelihood, his sense of self, all hung by a thread. Yet something inside him refused to give in. "Let's calm down, there's got to be another way," Marcus said, his voice surprisingly calm. The man's face twitched with a cocktail of fear and rage. "I don't want to hurt you." "I don't want to hurt you either." In the tense silence, two worlds collided, desperation and dignity. Marcus knew this was a defining moment, not just for himself, but for the man in front of him. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. The struggle was brutal but brief. The gun clattered away and Marcus held the man down, looking into eyes that were mirrors of pain. When the man confessed about his children, his joblessness, his spiraling debts, Marcus's heart softened. He remembered his own mother's sacrifices, the nights spent worrying about bills, the constant fight to stay afloat. In that moment, Marcus realized the man wasn't a criminal. He was a broken father pushed to the edge. It wasn't fear that needed to be fought. It was hopelessness. When the police arrived, Marcus refused to press charges. Instead, he offered the man a lifeline, a chance to start over. The community rallied around both men, showing that even in the darkest moments, empathy could light a way. The unthinkable unfolded the next morning when the man returned. Instead of anger or shame, he brought gratitude. He handed Marcus an envelope thick with money, enough to cover all the damage and then some, a symbol of his resolve to do right by the man who had shown him mercy. Months later, the restaurant thrived not just as a business but as a beacon of hope. Marcus and the man, whose name was James, worked side by side, rebuilding more than a kitchen. They rebuilt trust, family, and community. The old clock's hands had finally started moving again, marking time for new beginnings. The night's darkness had lifted, replaced by the warm glow of possibility. If this story touched your heart, consider subscribing for more inspiring tales of hope, healing, and unexpected kindness. Hit the like button and share this with someone who needs it today.